I previously unboxed all of this, and this was left on that side of the counter, so I didn't unbox this. What is it? What even is it? Work smart, live more. Okay. What are you selling me? What are the internet selling me? Oh. I have to do a full unboxing of this. Well, I guess I started it fresh. So Anker contacted me, and they said, hey, we're Anker, and we want to send you something. And I'm like, cool, what? And they gave me two choices. And there was like, one was a webcam, which is this, and one was something else. And I'm like, give me the webcam, because I actually just recently bought a second Logitech webcam, and I wasn't 100% sure that that was going to be the Logitech webcam sort of let me down in the dark. And this is a rather expensive one that is a full HD 115 field of view 2-time microphone HDR webcam from Anker called the PowerConf C300. So we could ignore all of this. Let's open this up, and then I will give you a small demo. This is going to involve editing in the future. Poor Pasta's going to have to watch. Did I not cut it? Am I not capable of using a knife to the fullest of its advantages? So, because webcams are a hot topic. When the Coves came around, when the COVIDs came around, that was one of the things everyone bought. Everyone had a webcam. Literally, cheese can buy a webcam. No one could buy a webcam. Holy Lord. Okay, there's 2 books. This one is, well, there's what do you think of our work? It's a nice little card. Then we've got the safety instructions. That's what that little warning sign is. You know, I guess don't shower with it. Many, many, many words in many languages. But holy hell, that is a catalog. That's a full flip book of 128 pages. 126, 127 pages. I'm assuming that's every language. Yeah, that's every language also. To learn Korean. Anyway, so here's my book. Download the software at software.anker.com. Okay, please don't you cover the AI functions. So I'm going to have to, because I know that Logitech has that Logic Capture software, which isn't that great. So I'm going to have to try their software and see how it works. We have an adapter, because it's a USB-C cable, only USB-C cable. In fact, my webcam doesn't even have a detachable cable. It only has the cable attached to the unit, and then it goes to a full size. So this is nice if you're going to an actual new modern laptop. Or, you know what, I wonder, I've never actually tried to hook a webcam up to a phone or a tablet before, because those usually have cameras. But what if you wanted to put an improved camera on there? This is a thick cable too. This is a very data cable. So let's take out sorry for the mess. I was not expecting this to show up this fast. Looks like we have 2 mounting seats. Let's pull these out. Oh, that's the privacy cover. We have 2 privacy covers that you can adhere. So they don't come on by default. Some webcams will give you a little door you can slide in front of it. And this gives you an adherable thing that you could put right, I guess you put it like this, and then you can slide a little slide. That's interesting. So it doesn't come on by default, and they include 2 in case you screw one up, I guess. The camera is very bulky. That's actually a good thing. I'm kind of like, it doesn't need to be thin where it's usually going to be mounted. So the fact that it's got thickness to it kind of makes me believe it's got a decent amount of some sort of hardware in there. The USB plug is way deep though. That goes, let me plug this in for you, way deep. It plugs in the front. 1080p, 60 FPS, lens is right there, the stereo microphones. Oh, that's a different level of articulation. You know what, mine has that. It's just this is slightly better. So this will rotate left and right on this part, and then this is the monitor hook. So that hooks around the front of your monitor or laptop, and then the back foot here will press against your monitor or laptop. It also has a 1/4 20 mount on the bottom with a big silicone pad, not foam. and the hinge is nice and stiff, so it's not going to undo itself. Or you just fold this all down, and there it sits. So you can actually go pretty, you can go like that, put it up on a tripod and spin it around. We'll do 360. It won't do 360. It is limited in its rotation. But okay, that seems to be it as far as hardware goes. Let's plug it into a laptop and see how it looks. Here we are the next day, or the next day after that. Anker camera set where you're supposed to have it. This is how you would place it on a laptop. Now this laptop actually has a camera, but it's in a terrible position. And by terrible, I mean that, like in the fullest extent of the law. Because it's there, so it's basically looking up your nose, which makes the bezel very thin, but who the hell wants that? I actually installed the cover here, which my only wish is that it wasn't quite as easy to slide. I've got like a little way to click it in place. Now, I'm Zeos, and I don't show my face, so I can't show you the facial recognition tracking feature, which actually works surprisingly well. It's smooth, it takes a little bit to get going. I took off the adapter, and I'm going straight into my USB-C port. The only thing I would say, if you're using a laptop, this is an extremely long wire. You may want to buy a shorter USB to USB-C cable, or USB-C to USB-C cable, because this is quite a thing to deal with. Let's go point this at things. Since I can rotate it almost 180 degrees, we'll do that. We'll slide it over, and you can see I have it set up in 1080p. I had to make a login for the app, which I guess every app does, but it does give you access to resolutions, 360p, 720p, 1080p, then you have 30 or 60 FPS. Let's put it in 60 again. I just upgraded the firmware on this to allow it to, just zoom into my bottle, enable HDR. So now we have HDR also. Out of the box, it didn't support HDR. Right now it's on solo frame, so I think if I brought it, it's trying to look for a face. So let's go give it one. Here. There, you can see it's centered Marie. Like I am not, if I move, it is constantly centering whatever it determines is a face. I could actually brighten the screen up a little bit. Do you have any other faces just like hanging around? Evangelions. So I'm actually impressed by that feature, although I know that's become sort of a standard. If you don't want to, we can actually level it. It's got pretty good options for moving the camera around. If you do not want to have it do that solo frame, you have the choice of 78, which is a rather zoomed, here, I'll use this bottle as a reference. So there's 78 degrees field of view. That's 90. And the maximum this camera will do is 115, which is, if you have a messy room or you don't want people to see anything beside you, you'd set it to a narrower field of view. And then you have the options of flexible angle, which is auto frame and solo frame. Auto frame, from my testing, just sort of like zooms in slightly where things, the important stuff is. And then solo frame will pick an object or a face, usually a face, and if it sees it moving, like this bottle here, the bottle's probably not going to trigger it. It definitely wants a face, and it can't get it. I'm amazed it worked on the figure. But yeah, solo frame will just sort of crop you always into position, so you don't have to move the camera or sit precisely in the middle. You could slouch to the side and it'll just follow you. It's very clear. I actually set up my bedroom, giggity, so we could test a little bit in there. See how it handles the low light. Low light. Well, that is actually doing phenomenally well, because this is a much lower light scenario than you'd almost ever be using it. I'm sure the frame rate suffers. We've actually dropped down to, oh, I want to touch my screen like it was a touch screen. That's a first. Yeah, I mean, you could even get 1080p 60 out of it. It's handling that purple. The purple is a little bit blown out, but that's what we're dealing with most webcams. But yeah, no, it's doing a remarkable job of compensating for essentially sunlight peeking over into purple light. A little bit of grain showing up. You'd have to do an actual full recording. Let's see if I just pop open this window. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 1,004, 1,000, about 4 seconds before it compensates for the extreme change in exposure. But yeah, that's remarkable. If you have a dark bedroom where you don't want to keep the lights on to do your web calls, this would work flawlessly. Because I'm Zeos. Yeah, actually, if I put it's on solo frame, I wonder if it's going to pick up a face here. Nope. It's just doing its thing. There's a face. Look at the face. Actually, yeah, it did focus on her. That was amazing. It did a little dance. Anyway, I think this is probably better than all the Logitech webcams I've got. The 1080p actually looks 1080p. There's, like, if you look here where there's horizontal lines, you can see the breakup when it's not perfectly level. But I mean, oh, it's zoomed in. It's like, bottle? Are you my master, bottle? And it zooms into it. The HDR is doing weird things. Like, I don't know if I hate it. Wait, HDR is off. HDR on, much better. I actually was playing with the image settings a little bit. With HDR, it doesn't seem to need I was upping the saturation, but I don't think you need it with this. That looks perfect. Contrast ratio, you can do the flip horizontal, so it's a mirror effect in case that's more comfortable for you. See, it's automatically moving. It's trying to find a face, which if you ever get up, I have a friend who uses something similar, and he gets up from his desk, and all of a sudden it's like, where are you? It just starts like searching around, and every time like a moth flies by, it's like, are you my master? And it flies around for that. But contrast ratio, brightness, sharpness. Sharpness, I tried touching it up a little bit, especially with HDR. You don't want to do that. In fact, I might want to soften it. You know what? I would soften it to 35. That looks so much less grainy. Yeah, but brightness, saturation's good. You know, a quality actual camera for this. It keeps bumping down to from 60 to 30 FPS though. Don't know what the reasoning is for that. Maybe because I'm changing all the other options. Maybe I can't do HDR. Yep, if you put in HDR, it drops to 30. So you can't do HDR and 60. So I'd probably, for just talking, drop it down to 30 and keep HDR on, unless you're in total darkness. And then there's an anti-flicker setting also, which I have really brightens it up, but it probably just opens it past the point where a 60 hertz refresh rate would be. So it's super bright now. I wonder what my bedroom looks like in super bright mode. Hold on. I'm gonna take a walk again. Because now it's like, about the same. Maybe it's a little bit more blown out. I can see what it's trying to do. Anyway, yes, Anker, I will be using this. Actually for its intended purpose, for video conferencing on Discord. Did you know I actually show my face to my friends, but not to the general public? It's just not. It's not something we do here on Z Reviews. See if I want to level it. It's just a matter of doing that. So yeah, this A+. A+ for camera effort. And the indicator, by the way, is a white dot, and there's the stereo microphones. I do have to still test the sound quality of it. I'll do that when I'm talking to my friends on it. I'm assuming it's going to be webcam quality. I have, you know, hundreds of dollars in microphone equipment, and it just has to be passable. As long as it's passable, it's passable. If it's not passable, I will say so in the comments and description of this video. Otherwise, it's good. Thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna pack this back up, or I'm gonna pack up the box in case I need to return it and put that in my sunroom.